Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day. So far, big development on the Dashy versus OpTic saga overnight, with 3 of the 4 OpTic Dynasty members and arguably 3 of the 4 best Call of Duty players of all time coming to Dashy's defense, at least in part on this topic, especially Karma suggesting Dashy was never a problem when he teamed with him and he shouldn't actually have been dropped at all. Very much enjoyed your thoughts down below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new. As always, you guys have been killing it with the support the last few days. Let's dive into things. Firstly though, with last night, Vegas Legion versus Seattle Surge, a massive series, not just in the context of Seattle and Vegas, but also for potentially OpTic as well in the future. They lose game 1, as is tradition. Now, look, it's expected that Vegas, really all they've got to do nowadays is win both searches and take a respawn, because these guys aren't playing in a facility. They're kind of, the ping situation is not going to be great, but they're so good in search and destroy, they can get away with it right now, because you know that if it goes game 5, they are odds-on favourites to win, pretty much against whoever they play in the league. So they just have to win a respawn. They lost game 1, they lost game 3, even though they reckon they were improving in control, but they did manage to pinch the game 4, probably went big the game 2 as well, to tie up the series, and pinching the game 4 was key, because Surge in the game 5, always a bit suspect, and Vegas, man, what a great story it is for these guys, especially given their situation, the online stuff not looking so good, the fact that they come out here and beat Seattle in the game 5, such a great performance. Clayton was absolutely loving it as well, and Clay went off this series. You look at the numbers, Clay had a 1.14, most damage in the lobby by a margin, 7 pred again, they were doing damage. Mack had a bit of an inconsistent series, as happens at times, and TJ, despite getting ultra-fried map 1, they still win the series. Pred had a phenomenal performance game 1 as well, but it just didn't work out in the search and destroys. And Seattle, again, struggling in the online qualifier section here of the majors. Like last season, they weren't great online, very inconsistent team. They just came off a grand finals run, of course, at the major. They'll probably be better again when they go to major 2 than they are online, but nonetheless, I think they're 1 in 4 so far this season now in an online environment, and over the course of the last couple of years, still their record online is not good. We actually can look here, their LAN record is 15 in 13, and online you'd expect to be better than LAN for at least some of the better teams, just because on LAN, as the tournament progresses, you play better and better opposition, so your record should get worse relatively, whereas online, if you're one of the better teams, you'll play on average the worst team regardless. Online there's no kind of progression in terms of a bracket, so you play better and better teams as the tournament goes on, because it's just random qualifiers. You look at OpTic and stuff and other teams, their online records will pretty much always be better than their LAN records for reasons like that. The fact that Seattle's is worse is definitely concerning, and the fact that these two have a losing online record is very interesting, because we know that Surge, they were pumping up the price, is what Hick said last night on the process, like 3 different times they pumped up the price on Preds, and OpTic were like, yep, we want him at that price, and they were like, no, we want you to pay this, and they were like, okay, we'll still have him, and then they were like, yeah, we want you to pay this, and then they were like, actually, no, we don't want to sell him at all. So I don't know what was going on there, but Hex obviously was not happy about that one by any means, and if Seattle continue to lose, is there a point where whatever offer OpTic want to offer Surge becomes worthwhile, or are they just going to be so stubborn to say, no, we're not selling Preds regardless of circumstances? But and look, OpTic might not need Pred, it might be perfectly fine with Huke, and the Dallas Empire thing works out, and it's all sunshine and rainbows, but still, if things go wrong, then maybe Pred is more acquirable if Surge start to do worse, because that's what I said immediately after they got top 2 at the major, was like, this is not looking good for OpTic, because Surge is like the key team that you go to right now to try and nab talent off to upgrade your roster if possible. Now, speaking of Clay, doing into more unfortunate news, it was confirmed yesterday, maybe not quite by the organization themselves yet, even though it's pretty much now been confirmed, that eUnited as an organization has closed down. If you guys are new to the scene over the last couple of years, you might not know eUnited, but yeah, what a great organization for many years. I think they even came in during Black Ops 3, but Infinite Warfare especially, they were one of the great stories of Call of Duty Esports when that team we just saw actually came in with these 4 guys. They won that event, they were doing great online. Like, these are guys at the time, okay, silly people knew, but Gunless, Pristine, and Arcitys, no one had even heard of at the time. They came up, that was such a great thing about the open side. eUnited signed them, and eUnited went on to do great things that year and beyond. Even Clayster says, which is quite the statement really, given the fact that Clay's been on all sorts of organizations. He's definitely played for Envy as well at some point, but he's played for OpTic, he's played for FaZe, and as he goes on to say, after playing for some of the best orgs in the business, eUnited was by far my favourite sleep timer print, he says. So sad scenes, and of course this legendary image of eUnited winning the Call of Duty World Championship, beyond which they couldn't get the franchise spot. I do wonder what's going to happen, or what could have happened if franchising didn't happen, or happened a year later. With eUnited having just won the World Championship, they couldn't get a spot in franchising, they were forced to downsize, go to different esports, they couldn't maintain their Call of Duty team, it's not profitable to maintain a team in challenges, for example, and if these guys had stayed together going into the franchising era under eUnited, or let's say franchising never happens, like what would have happened to these guys? Would they have become a new dynasty, or, you know, because these guys would have been great at Modern Warfare as well. So, you know, crazy to think about. The team, if you guys are unfamiliar, Clayster, Arcitys, Pristini, Simp, and aBeZy, coach for Cento, that won the World Championship in Black Ops 4. So definitely sad to see eUnited go, but they did bring some phenomenal memories to Call of Duty. Now let's talk about this Dashy stuff in more detail then. So I would not be surprised if at some point in the future we get a Birds of Bridges episode with Crimsix and Dashy. It might well happen soon, it might well happen in a few months' time, but it's probably going to happen at some point, let's be honest here. Now, Dashy doubles down on this again, and I thought maybe Dashy was done for, but it seems like maybe the Process episode last night riled him up again, and he was ready to cook, because here he goes again. VOD night, baby, let me lock in. So he tweets out what is apparently what was going on in all their VOD reviews. So when you review VOD at OpTic Texas, you don't look at the entire map, you just watch the scoreboard, which is this. So I don't know, maybe he found this himself, or he found a way to find this in one of their former VODs or whatever, but yeah, here we go. This is the Codcaster minimap view that pretty much is apparently always being watched. And this is the thing, like number 5, for example, can you tell if number 5 is on the roof or downstairs? Like, he's probably on the roof here, given the angle he's trying to hold, but like he could be in either spot, and you can't really always tell where players are just looking at the map. You can't tell what health players have, you can't tell if you know, this player has heard this player, for example. You don't know the additional context, and it just seems really strange to me that Dashy brought this point up to the team, or he said this to the team, and Karma's going to address this in a second. And Karma was saying that when he said things to the team and he had criticisms, they actually listened to him and were like, okay, Karma's saying this, we probably better listen to him. But in Dashy's case, it seemed like he was raising questions like, okay, why is Ray dipping out to bowling once a week, twice a week, however often it was? Rambo and Dashy disagree on the frequency there, but either why is that happening, or why are we watching our VODs purely through a minimap perspective? When Cinder was there and he would record them, he would record the entire point of view, which he thought was reasonable enough, and probably every other coach does. I doubt there's any other team doing this, because yes, the minimap is useful, gives useful information, and is definitely one to look at, but you know, why not just record the entire screen with the minimap as well if you want to zoom in and look at something specific, and also have the PFVs of the players? Don't really understand it, but whatever. Dashy didn't understand it, he raised the question, and the team shut him down and said, no, I guess that's just the way we do things. Now, Karma, I thought during the Black Ops 4 days was on the kind of, apparently the story was, according to Crimsix, who's always a bit of a biased and unreliable source in fairness, but at the time, Crimsix said going into the Modern Warfare season that it was Crim, Karma, and TP. That was Crim, Karma, the players, and then TP, the coach, that were on one side of the equation in that OpTic Gaming team in Black Ops 4, and then it was Scump, TJ, and Brandon, that being Dashy, on the other side of the equation. So, you know, the rumor was that Karma and Brandon didn't really get on particularly well. Karma and Dashy didn't get on particularly well, but as Karma says, low-key, when I played, he was always on time. So Karma was kind of saying, you know what, this is true what Dashy's saying about being the most on time. I think even Shotzzy addressed this briefly on stream last night as well, and said something to the effect of, you know, it's not like Dashy was always only on time and the only one that was on time, but he was mostly on time, and Karma seems to agree that while Dashy may certainly have been a diva in the past, and even admitted to that on stream, like he wasn't the best teammate back in the day, and even, you know, even last year reckons he was still a bit toxic at times. He does admit that type of stuff, but I do feel like there is an element of what Dashy's saying that is correct here, that OpTic were trying to paint him again, and kind of using, as he described it, I believe, old reliable, as in, oh yeah, you know, attitude, this type of stuff, to excuse them dropping him, whereas they could have said something else. And I think the real reason this all kicked off is because they came to Dashy on a call and said, hey Dashy, yeah, you know, we're not really happy with you doing this in practice, the attitude is not looking so good, you're not really trying so hard all the time, you know, you've kind of vibe killed a lot. And Dashy was like, look, just tell me some reasonable reasons that aren't just complete BS, and just say, look, you want to make a change, you're the one who's got to go because we want to maybe put Scump to the flex or keep iLLeY around or whatever. He would have respected that, and probably none of this drama happens, but because they told him reasons that he thinks are kind of BS, and also just trying to paint him again as and scapegoat him for reasons that maybe aren't so valid nowadays anyway, might have been back in the day, but nowadays are not, therefore all of this is kicked off. Now, we've got Karma defending him, we've got Crimsix, of course, defending him, and even FormaL had a few words as well.
Ray would be like, okay, brothers, so we need to be rotating to the back of this hill on this map. And it would just be like a long silent pause. And that's how you know, like, all the other players are saying, like, shut the f up, we know. Thank you for saying the
it's
obvious,
just
shut up.
No, but it's obvious and it's hindsight too, though, because anyone could have a solution to like a problem that happened in the. I don't know, dude.
Yeah. No, but dude, I would literally hit him with the. You probably like you're probably gonna like this. Like there'd be that long awkward silence.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'd be like, you know what, Ray, shut the f up, dude. Like, hey, shut the f up.
But
Ray. Thank you for that, man.
I think I did that a couple times, but then it instantly like got like, nah, I'm just being toxic.
Wait, you did that?
I did. I'm not gonna lie.
Bro, that's why you got kicked. I did the same thing.
Yeah, I got kicked twice actually. I did do that. Not gonna lie.
Bro, how you get kicked twice?
Literally that.
You gotta like know how to
that's
talk
been
to
pretty
like be with people,
we
bro. Like
should
I'm
break
pretty
that.
good with
Ace
like
and Betty's been in here
everybody.
Before we've had like
I don't think it should
invited
hurt
us.
his stock.
Like
yeah.
that.
I don't
to
even
group
think
watch
Brandon
parties,
should have been
so,
dropped. I think it's just so
assume that this whole
fated.
exercise for you is like.
But I
still
also
getting this out
know
of the chest and you feel
that
like
there's
now
no way
you
that
can kind of have a clean start.
Bruce was ever
happens
gonna.
next.
There's no way that
wouldn't even
I
blame,
don't
like,
know,
another
bro.
team
When
for
I was
just,
with
like,
Brandon,
believing,
he was
you know what I'm
never
saying?
like
I'd
any
never
of this
speak up or
dude.
defend
Like
myself, and at that
He's
point,
gotta-
it's-
I
just
wanna
from
get
when
back
I
to
played with
PH
Brandon, bro,
since
I don't
I'm
think
a
it's that
little
big of a
intrigued
deal,
and
bro.
stuff.
I think they
That's
low
fun.
key
I like
just
I like
sucked
that.
ass
I'm
at this
taking
game
you, Ben.
as a team.
Well,
They
don't,
had to
in
make a
in a
change.
real match, no, you should take him.
You know what I do feel? Okay, this might be biased, and this it's just me saying how I feel, but I also don't know how things are ran right now. I feel like deep down they're trying to get back what they had on Empire, and I mean it's kind of coming into fruition. You know, I gotta go downtown for content. They get Huke back. They got their Zio. You know what I'm saying? Like they got their Empire roster.
I am the most word, by the way. Me and Ray are disagreeing probably 95% of the time. No one says a word. It's me against Ray. No one's taking a side. It's insane. It's just cricket.
See, that's bad. Because this reminds me of Black Ops 4. It'd be like Porter and Seth, and then Porter and Brandon, and then T just call him Porter fat. Porter's like, "F you, Tej." Seth's like, "Someone gas me." Porter's like, "Shut the f up." And then I'm like, it's like, then Porter's like, "Go Damon." Like, you know what I'm saying? I'd be like, "Yeah, I know what I'm saying, bro, but like, you gotta chill, man." Like, and then it'd be like, Brandon, I'm like, no. Leave Brandon. Like, I think you should have done this, blah, blah, blah. They'd be like, Seth would be like, "Porter, what the f are you doing? Like, dude, you idiot." It'd be like, "No, all right, Seth, chill. Like, I agree. You're right. Yo, Porter, you gotta like, just remember, like, next time when you're doing this, like, take it a little slower or, you know, wait for us, blah, blah, blah." Like, I was like the mediator, but it seems like there's no mediator. Like, that's bad. This is bad. Like, someone say something. Someone's got to say something. You know what I mean? I don't know what it's like to be this. Because, like, when I said people listened, or when people were arguing, they usually ask me for, like, yo, what do you think? Like, am I crazy? I'll be like, I mean, I just tell you, like, nah, you're not right. I think he's right. But, and that's just that. But there's, like, you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
So I thought Karma's opinion was the most interesting there, really, just because he played with Dashy back in the day. He had some experience with him. He's seen what's happened over the last couple of years. He's played in the CDL era. And everyone knows that when Karma speaks, you've got to listen. That's just how it is with this guy. And just the fact of the matter being that FormaL also went on to say this, right? The fact that the COD coaches are absolutely useless. And, you know, which seem to back up Dashy to an extent as well. And we know that Dashy and FormaL get on. So I think that FormaL will have Dashy's back to a degree. Of course, FormaL's also going to have Scump's back in the team's decision, but nonetheless, FormaL is at least, you know, backing Dashy on one element of this. Karma just straight up said, you know, that he shouldn't have been dropped in the first place, doesn't feel like the reasons that they gave are necessarily legitimate, and that it was the wrong decision to get rid of Dashy. Even in the off-season, right, we saw FormaL say outright to Scump and the team that dropping Dashy was a bad idea, and he implores them to change their minds. Now, of course, they've done it anyway, and even Crimsix, look, we know what Crimsix is going to say. This guy, you know, if any OpTic drama happens, Crimsix comes out of the woodwork to, you know, to pile on the burners. But just the fact of the matter being that out of the Dynasty team, of which these four guys, Karma, FormaL, Scump, and Crimsix, are considered the four best ever players. Maybe there's other ways you can look at it. You can maybe put Clayster in, but, you know, pretty much that's the general agreement within the community. And of course, Scump's still on the OpTic team, but all the other three guys are at least in agreement to a certain extent that Dashy was hard done by here and has been screwed over to some degree or another. So I did just think that was very interesting, and yeah, intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below on what you think, because FormaL's backed him up, at least said that Rabo and just generally coaches in COD are kind of useless. Crimsix obviously got in the corner, and we saw the clip where he said, you know what, yeah, you got dropped for similar reasons to me because you talked trash to Rabo, therefore you got dropped from the team. And Khan was like, he didn't deserve it in the first place. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. Backs up a lot of what Dashy's saying here, and it's very interesting because I know that a lot of fans are conflicted on this, because obviously they want to support their OpTic team that is now there, but also they feel like Dashy has a fair point on this one, and that Rambo isn't necessarily, you know, as good as his job as we might have thought 12 or so months ago. So very interesting set of storylines. Quick note as well on the OpTic side that Shotzzy presumably mentioned on stream last night. I haven't quite got to see a clip of this yet. I'm going to go searching for this soon. But apparently Shotzzy said that iLLeY's having some visa issues, which is arguably why he's back in Canada right now. We saw the kind of GeoGuessr thing the other day, but he won't be able to play in, well, the Envy offices back in Dallas, Texas yet. And he's got to get his visa sorted, which is going to take a couple of weeks. So his visa was denied and has to redo everything, which is actually a pretty big deal, I would imagine. Because, I mean, if that's the case, then if iLLeY's visa from Canada is not sorted by, I mean, Boston is not far away. If it's going to take 2 weeks for them to get it sorted, the Boston Major begins on, is it the 2nd of February or something, which is basically 2 weeks away? So he's going to be playing all the qualifiers from Canada, probably, and then is he going to get to the Major? I don't know. Just thought I'd mention it because pretty crazy stuff. Now, these are the 4 games of today. OpTic play Boston tomorrow. That's not going to be an easy game on the evidence we saw from Boston last night, but it's Mutineers versus Guerrillas with their new team, of course. Rokkr versus Ravens. That's, of course, the battle of the getting absolutely smoke showed on Friday. FaZe Surge. That's a banger. Looking to see if FaZe can show some improvement. And then LA Thieves Subliners. Great set of series to close out the day. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.